What's up, YouTube? Know what I mean? Just one of those days. Oh, met up with my friends who just got back from Europe, and he actually just drove down here from NorCal a few days ago, and he stopped by real quick with two of his friends, his girlfriend who is from Spain, and his buddy from France, and stopped by for a little bit. It was cool, man. We were able to catch up a bit. Yeah, man, it was really good seeing him. Man, gives my feet the itch. I want to get up and go to Europe. I want to go. He's about to go and be chilling in Portugal for the next 3 months, 4 months. He's gonna go up to Shasta area for a little minute, and then they fly out, like in a week and a half, for Spain. So that was a good time, man. Came by, and yeah, it was good. It's been crazy the last 2 months, man. I've just been like feeling stuck, with the passing of my pops, and it was just really unexpected. Now just like trying to figure out what to do next, in a sense, I want to be close, for my mom. She's 70 now, and she's super hard worker. She does like massage therapy and like holistic health, and she's still like every day, man, she's on that grind doing her thing. And but she's getting up there, and I want to be around here to take care of her, be here for her. But at the same time, man, there's so much I want to see. I still want to travel, and so I'm just trying to like figure out, find that balance right now. Figure out what I'm gonna do, but it's gonna all work out, and yeah, just one day at a time. But I'm just feeling kind of stuck right here, right now, like where I'm at. I'm back, with my mom right now, hanging, and just sorry for that noise out there. Street sweepers are going by, but yeah, I just got the itchy feet, and I'm just ready to go, man. I'm ready to get out of San Diego. I love it here, beautiful city, but that city life is not no life for me. I'm just not about it anymore these days. I want to be out there close to nature, preferably up in some mountain. But yeah. Things that have been on my mind a lot lately, just the whole idea of non-duality, and just how that plays into everyday life. Like, how does a non-dualist function in society? And it might sound like a silly question, but it's actually a very profound question. I mean, somebody who's experienced a non-dual state and ascribes to the idea of non-duality, how does that manifest? What does that look like, living in this relative reality, if you want to call it that? And samsara is the word I like to call it, this facade, this illusion that kind of, it's kind of like a screen over the truth, over what isness is, what is this isness, the whole idea of what isness, what is, I don't know. But non-duality, it's a very, very, very deep concept. And I know there's a lot of schools of non-duality out there, The concept of non-duality I'm thinking of comes from the Mahayana tradition of Buddhism, and they call it sunyata, or it's this emptiness, this void, this primordial awareness, this ultimate state, isness. Emptiness, when it's called with that word, it's often like can kind of sound almost, I don't know, it could be a little bit pessimistic, it can sound a little bit nihilistic. But in actuality, the shunyata it's the place where all possibilities exist. It's not emptiness in the way that we think of emptiness, but it's emptiness. It's the void. It's the first cause, the place where all possibilities arise and fall. The mind. Kabbalists call it the Ein Sof, the infinite light. Non-duality, the idea that all things, there's nothing that we perceive that isn't mine, that isn't one, that isn't the absolute, manifesting in myriads of manifestations and forms and emanations. But ultimately, all going back to the one. It's really interesting. Within Buddhism, too, it goes even further with the whole idea of interdependence, that all things that exist are interdependent upon each other. It's a very true observation. I mean, take away all the metaphysics and all the mystical elements from it, but just on a very practical level, like it's true. There's nothing that exists independently of something else. There is no thing that we can perceive in this reality that is some eternal, existing, independent I or self. Everything in this existence is interdependent on something else. When you were born, for example, even before you were born, the fetus was dependent on the womb and the nutrients that came and the placenta. After the child was born, the child became dependent on its mother's milk, on the air to breathe, on light, on darkness, on food, on comfort, on hugs, on touch, everything that a human being needs to survive. We are dependent on those elements. We're dependent on food to eat. We're dependent on air to breathe. We're dependent on water to drink. Without those elements, a human being wouldn't be an I or a self or could not exist. And this goes for anything in this perceived world, in samsara. A tree needs dirt and soil and sun and air and wind, all these factors for it to exist as a tree. It doesn't exist independently by itself as a tree. It depends on all these other factors, and so on with everything that exists in samsara. Everything is interdependent. The deeper we go with our meditations, the deeper you go into the practices, you realize, like, well, then what is the I that I identify with? What is this self that makes up herbal mystic? Who, what is this I that I perceive myself to be? It's a trip. It's a trip. Meditation, the deeper we go in these practices, the deeper you go into the mind, the deeper with, for example, practices like Vipassana, insight meditation. You after you've practiced calm abiding and you've rested in that state, then one begins to, with insight, investigate, look for the self, and try to find the self, try to identify a permanent, eternal self. And this is very hard to find. Is it, your toes? Are your toes yourself? Is it your legs, your knees, your arms? Is this who makes up who you identify as being the I that you are? And so on. So, I've looked for myself, and so often, like, what I've identified for myself and found is my body, my emotions. These things are what I call the self. And none of those things are eternal. Like, those things have all changed. Like, I no longer am the same body or even have the same every cell that I had when I was a child, when I was 6 years old, or when I was 18 years old. My ideas have changed throughout my life. My beliefs have changed, you know. Things change. Some people say, well, we have eternal soul. Yeah, whatever. I don't know what a soul is. You know, most people that talk about souls, I think in their mind it's still like an inferior or like a less material, less tangible, but more spiritual self in a sense, you know, or they attach their personality almost to the concept of a soul. And through my explorations, I think those are just ideas of men. Those are philosophies. This is what we think, and I don't think we can put words on any of that stuff, actually. So I'm not going to try to attempt to put words on that stuff because it's beyond my comprehension at this point in my life. I don't understand those deep mysteries yet, you know. But what I have experienced through entheogens, through meditation, is definitely I've glimpsed that non-dual state, and for me, it's been utterly terrifying every time I've encountered like merging into non-duality because I'm so attached to myself, you know, self-grasping, and I definitely see that it's my self-grasping that causes the majority of the suffering in my life. And I guarantee you, for most of us, that's what causes the greatest amount of suffering in our lives is our like strong self-grasping, our self-attachment. Like, the more we can become selfless, the greater amount of joy and happiness we bring into our own lives and to the lives of those around us, which is what I want. I think most of us, that's what we want, you know. We live in a world that's just filled with so much negativity. At least that's what we constantly are shown, you know, through media. This negativity. And despite all the negativity, I do believe this world is a beautiful place. This illusion is a beautiful illusion. It can be beautiful, but oftentimes we made it into hell. We've made paradise into hell. Very cliche, but fuck, it seems very true. In many instances, in many cases, it seems like we've turned paradise to hell. But, man, we can make this place better too. By just spreading love, compassion, loving kindness, just genuinely trying to be selfless people. I'm dabbing on some Northern Lights. And, yeah. It's my little afternoon dab sesh. What are you guys smoking on today? Let me know in the comments. What are you guys dabbing on? What kind of flower you have in your bowls? I remember, man, in high school, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is like going way back. This is kind of way off the subject on non-duality and everything. But I remember in high school, like getting like in junior high, getting High Times magazines sometimes, you know, and feeling like I had to sneak them because the family environment, at least at that age, you know, they weren't my parents. They felt differently about cannabis than how they felt later in life. But at that time in life, I just remember reading like High Times magazines and seeing all the different strains of flowers and hash, and just like dreaming about the day that I turn 18, save up money, be able to go to Amsterdam so I could try all these flowers. You know. And then, like 1996, at least here in California, medical marijuana passed, and well, that was Murder She Wrote. Everything changed. You know what I mean? Like everything changed. Like, ugh, all these strains were popping up left and right. It was cool. It's cool. Been in that cannabis game for a minute now, man. Shit. Since the 90s, man. That 90s crown, though, man. Here in San Diego, we had that good shit. If you're in San Diego, man, let me know if you remember that Bull Rider, that P91, the Hog's Breath. Like, all local San Diego strains grown out of, actually, the city I'm in right now, Poway. Those strains were fire, man. I remember they were going around like 1998, 99. Well, P91 since 91. Just fire chronic, man. That was what it was all about back in the 90s, man. Mid to late 90s, fire chronic. We also at that time, man, in the 90s, that L was going around. That good L. Lucy, she was in town. And man, she changed my life. She changed my life, man. Wow. We had the Blue Felix back in those days, man. Black Pyramids. Purple gels were just right, man. Like, stuff was just there, man. From like 94 to like, all the way up to like, I was still finding it really good. L up into 98, 99. And kind of like dipped back from the scene for a minute, you know. Not from the scene, but I wasn't coming across anything that I could trust, you know, or that I felt was quality. So I just kept it natural with the mushrooms, with the psilocybe, but yeah, man, them 90s, and I don't know why I got on all this little tangent, but it is what it is. It doesn't really matter, because it's all non-dual anyway. This is all just an illusion and a dream. Nah, I'm just playing around. Dang, I could use a drink though. I need something to drink. Yeah. You guys wanna see my yeah. You guys wanna see my San Pedro? It's a project I've been working on for a minute. You guys ready for this? Boom. These puppies right here, behind me, man. These guys right here, they was spitting out some beautiful flowers earlier this year. Really pretty. Yeah, man. This is sacred medicine right here. This stuff is. What can I say about Wachuma? It's beautiful. You know, we're blessed to have this, you know. So. So yeah, man. I hope to be putting more content, more videos up on my channel soon. Thank you, all of you guys who have subscribed. If you like, you know, hit the like buttons. If you don't like, man, that's cool too, man. I get it. And I'm gonna do this last dab with y'all. And maybe go for a walk. But yeah, definitely got itchy feet, man. My boy, he just had his little baby boy himself, and I still can't believe it, man. It's one of my best friends since high school days. Went to Hoover with them, for those of you who live in San Diego. We grew up together, east side. And man, he's got a little baby boy, but he's got his casa down in Baja. And so he's been trying to get me to go down there for a minute to go visit him. So I'm thinking about taking a trip down to Baja pretty soon. And then at the end of the month, up in December, I'm going to be heading back up to Arizona. Spent some time up there at the Buddhist Institute for some teachings with His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. And I'll be up there for the Yamataka Drupchin also in January, I believe, or maybe it's in February. I'll have to check on that one, but I'll be there for that. You know, every day I'm just gonna keep on plugging away, working on my mind, man, working on my self-grasping, working on eliminating these poisons from my life, such as hatred, ignorance, greed, jealousy. Those are all poisons I don't want in my life, so I want to transform those energies into something positive, something uplifting, something beneficial to myself and to others. I wish you all a wonderful and blessed day. Blessings to you all. I'm only hungry.